Hey guys, it's Shannon. It is time for a Deadpan video. I have waited way too long to do this video and I have a ton of stuff, so I will try to zoom through them as quickly as possible for you. If you are new to beauty videos, a Deadpan video is also known as Empties videos for some of you who aren't new to the makeup videos. But a Deadpan video is basically when you have used up a product completely and you can give basically a good review and let people know whether you would use that product again or whether, you know, what you really thought about it. So I have a lot of products, so we're just going to dive right in. I'm going to start with hair products. The first thing I used up is the Queen Helene Royal Curl Stay Clean Shampoo and Moisture Rich Conditioner. So the shampoo, it says turn your dry kinks and frizz into silky smooth curls. And the conditioner says locks in essential nutrients to rehydrate, detangle, and smooth thirsty hair. These are all natural, free of sulfates, petroleum products, parabens, and phthalates. So they look like this. I have done a blog post on these in the past, so check out my blog, information link below for more details about the products and some other products that I tried as well. I really did like these. These shampoos are a little more than my hair needs, because you guys know I have super duper baby fine hair. These are better suited for somebody with either thicker hair, more coarse hair, or just more hair in general than I have. But they were really nice. They smelled really nice. I actually really did enjoy the way that they performed on my hair, even though they are just a little heavy for mine. I would reuse these in a pinch. They're not my favorite. They're not going to be my go-to shampoo just because of, you know, the hair type issue. But I would definitely use these again in a pinch. If I went to the store and could not find, you know, my favorite shampoo or what have you, if there was a limited selection and they had this, I would go with this for sure. So if you've never tried this, I would recommend giving it a try. They were nice. I enjoyed them. Next is the Organics Nourishing Coconut Milk Weightless Mousse. I did a full video review in the past on this and the shampoo and conditioner. I wouldn't buy this again. There are a lot of people who really love it, so if you love it, you know, good for you. It doesn't, as far as mousse goes, I didn't like the way it performed with my hair. It just didn't give me the styling and control that I like. You know, it's just for me, I would rate this as a low average. Not the most horrible product on the planet that I've ever used, but not quite average. A little below average for me. Some people really love it though. The smell is amazing. I mean, I can't fault the smell at all. It smells like yummy, coconutty suntan lotion and, you know, summery, and I definitely love that. But the performance for me was just average. There are a lot of other mousses that I have used and would use before I would use this again. So there you have it. Next is a thermal protection spray. This is the BioLux Luxurious Hair Through Nature and Science is what it says. It's part of the Professional Collection with vitamin E to protect hair from heat styling damage. I really liked this. It is not my absolute favorite, but it is a very, 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 very close second, and I would use this as a go-to any day. I got this at CVS. I definitely like it better than Tresemme. I like the scent of it. I like the way it sprays better than Tresemme. The mist is a little bit thicker and has a little more control. And the results that I got were a lot better than the results I got from Tresemme. I was able to grow my hair and have a lot less damage with this than I did when I was using Tresemme. So I'm not completely slamming Tresemme. I think Tresemme for me is a decently average product, but you know, if I'm going to spend my money, I want something to be better than average, and this is pretty darn good. So if you've never tried it, you know, it is kind of like a sort of a generic, you know, appearing product. Like I said, I found it at CVS. If you haven't tried it, I would say try it, because I really did get better results with this than I did with the Tresemme. And it is a very close second for me. Very close. I mean, it's right there. This I'm not going to speak too much about. This is one of those little shampoo bottles that you get when you stay at a hotel, and it's the White Marble Conditioning Shampoo. It's a Breck Salon Essentials, and it also is related to Dial. It says the Dial Amenity Collection. You know, it's just a little shampoo bottle. It smelled nice. It performed okay. Sometimes when you get shampoos like these, I feel like for me, sometimes I used to always have problems with them sort of feeling built up on my hair and heavy if I used them, and this didn't do that. It felt like a nice kind of clarifying shampoo would. So, not super gentle. It didn't feel super gentle to the hair. I don't know if you can buy this on its own or not, but anyway, I finished it, so I thought I would show you. Sticking with the shower theme, I finished a box of the Mark Cleanup Time Conditioning Bath Soap. You guys know that these are my go-to favorite soaps. This one has the shea butter, cocoa butter, and white tea extract. And you get a box like this, and it has three full-size soaps come in it, each individually wrapped. And they're wrapped really nicely, too, so you can actually gift them separately if you wanted to. I have ordered another box. These are on clearance now and then. This is the second version of this that they had. Not this last Christmas, but the Christmas before was the year that they introduced, during the fall, was when they introduced this version. The year before that, they introduced the first version. I like the first version better. It actually had a mandarin fragrance to it as well as, a few of these others. And I really liked that mandarin over this fragrance. This fragrance was nice. I just really, really preferred the other one. The other one I just liked, that much better. This one is perfectly good, though, as well. I miss the mandarin, basically. But these really are my favorite soaps. They last for a really long time. They lather up just the right amount for me. They're sensitive with my skin, which, freaks out all the time to different things. And I've really enjoyed using them. So I have ordered some more. And I will be sad when they're gone. And I'm hoping that they will do yet either a third version or repackage or do whatever they want to do with it. But I hope they'll bring it back. So again, the Mark is available on my website. If you've never tried those and you want to try them, check them out while they're having clearance sales. Okay, we'll do some nail care products next. I finished this bottle of Cutex Strengthening Nail Polish Remover. This is the gelatin-enriched acetone for natural nails. This is the purple label, and the color of the product inside of it is purple. I enjoyed using it. I'm not particularly super brand loyal to nail polish removers or packaging style loyal to nail polish removers either. I'll use pretty much anything. Obviously, I'm using brands that are made for natural nails, though. I'm not using anything that's designed to soak off artificial nails or dissolve gel nails or anything like that. Just regular old nail polish remover for me. And yes, I would use that again. I have no complaints about it. Then I also finished up a bag of the Up and Up brand cotton balls. These are the jumbo size. This is the 200 count, and these are the 100% cotton all natural puffy fluffs, it says. So it's a big bag full like this. They sell these at Target. They sell the 200 count and the 100 count. The 200 count is $2. The 100 count, I think, is either 99 cents or $1. They're cotton balls. They don't pill too bad. That's the big complaint people have about cotton balls, is that they kind of pill apart. I don't have a problem with that. Mainly, it is the quality of the cotton balls, but it mainly has to do with the products that I use them with, so keep that in mind. I don't have a whole lot to say about cotton balls, really. Most of the time I actually prefer synthetic cotton balls, but those are hard to come by these days, so I also use cotton balls, not just on my nails, but on my face, so I will do some face products next. The first product, the label is, the print on the label completely came off. This was the Get Defensive eye cream or eye lotion from Mark. Again, available on my website. This is right now my holy grail eye cream. I'm trying another brand right now, which I'm not enjoying as much. This eye cream, I was really starting to get the fine lines they weren't terrible, but they were kind of there all the time, and when I was putting on makeup or in the mirror, I could really see them. And particularly right down here, kind of extending out. you know, they're basically smile lines for me. I don't really have them too bad here, but just right here, when I smile, these little spots right here were starting to just kind of show just a very little bit all the time. And I started using this in the mornings because it has an SPF in it, and they went away. The product I'm using now, they're coming back a little bit, which just reinforces how much I like this. So I would just take a little tiny, the amount of, like, because it does have a pump, I don't do a full pump at all. I would pump out the amount that's kind of the equivalent of the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen, and that would do my whole eye. So I would kind of start out here, you know, because you want to kind of go all the way around because you get your wrinkles out here too. So I would kind of start out here and go underneath the eye and, you know, up here, and then I would run over the top and sort of work my way down towards the lid. Now, because this has SPF in it, if you get it in your eye, it's going to burn. So, you know, get as near to your lash line as you can, but have common sense with it. Don't get right in the lashes, and I really like it. So SPF is important around the eyes, and I would suggest this if you've never tried it. The next thing is the Be Fine Daily Moisturizer with SPF 15 with rosemary, pomegranate, and rice. This is a natural product, touted natural, paraben-free, vegetarian proteins, and essential oils. It's the Be Fine's food skincare line. They've done some repackaging and things, so I don't know if you purchased this, if it would look exactly like this again. I wasn't really a fan of this. It does smell like rosemary, which I am not an herbally fragrance fan. And I knew that when I purchased it. I knew that it was going to be a fragrance that I wouldn't really like. But the thing about it is, if a product works really well, then I can deal with a fragrance that is not one of my favorites. It wasn't repulsive to me. It's just not. I'm just not a fan of it. But it wasn't. It wasn't amazing, and it was not even really average for me. I would do a full pump on my fingers and use that, you know, all over my face. And I never really felt like that was enough. It was never really that moisturizing on the face. Now, in the directions it does say to apply liberally and, you know, to the face, neck, and chest. 15 minutes before sun exposure. And then it does say to reapply as needed and that it's not waterproof. Okay, so you would reapply it, I mean, with an SPF of 15, you would have to reapply it non-stop for the SPF, you know, if you're using it for SPF. But I think most people would be using it as their daytime moisturizer, their morning moisturizer. And it does say to apply it liberally. I did not apply it liberally. I did one full pump all over my face, and that's because generally any other face care lotion or cream or what have you, that's all you need. You need one pump, and it's either enough or way more than you need, you know, for the entire face. So I didn't want to use more, because to me, if I used more, then I would have run through this in like a week, and that wouldn't get me my money's worth. So would it have been more moisturizing to my face if I had been liberally using it? Well, maybe. I'm not really sure, but there were a lot of days where even when I would use this, I sort of felt like I needed more moisturizer in addition to it. So, like I said, I wasn't a fan of the fragrance, and had it worked amazingly, I wouldn't have minded the fragrance, but it didn't really work amazingly. It was the very low end of average for me. I think it could be a really good product, but I think they need to work on that. It does need to be more moisturizing. And that is kind of a toss-up that you deal with sometimes when you're dealing with products that do use a lot more natural ingredients, because that's why we created those chemical ingredients over time to begin with, is that they performed the way we wanted them to perform. They started to produce results that we couldn't produce with other ingredients. So there's a toss-up with that. And I do understand that that is something that you deal with sometimes when you're dealing with natural ingredients versus something that has more, you know, chemicals in it. But I do think if they really want to compete, they're really going to have to work on the moisturizing portion of the program. So it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like I hated it. you know, it's not a cheap product, and there's just too much on the market that is better. So another product for the face, I think this is my only makeup product. This is the Revlon New Complexion Makeup, and I had it in number 5, which is warm beige. This I would say was probably like a medium coverage, or I wouldn't call it a full coverage, but most makeups that say they're full coverage, in my opinion, are not full coverage anyway. So this was a decent medium coverage makeup. And I kind of, when I was using this, I felt like my Holy Grail foundation was still kind of the Photo Ready. I felt like I liked the Photo Ready better, but I've gone back to the Photo Ready, and to be honest with you now, I'm really starting to question that. This is discontinued, which I'm sad about. You can't get this anymore. Although if anybody knows if it was just reformulated or renamed, then let me know, because I'll just switch to the new name of it. If anybody happens to know whether that's the case or not, then please comment below. I feel like in pictures the Photo Ready works better because it's supposed to. That's what it's designed for, is to give you a nice finish in photo or on film. But I feel like in real life, you know, face to face, this one had a better finish for me. The Photo Ready tends to cling to just dry patches, which I deal with sometimes a little more. And now the Photo Ready that I'm using right now, I think the color is just a little bit too light for me still, but where this at the time was a better match for my skin tone, so that has a little to do with it. But in general, I think the Photo Ready looks better on camera than this one did, but I think in real life this one looked better on the face than the Photo Ready does. So I would use this one again if it existed. I finished a deodorant. This is one of the Skin So Soft Fresh and Smooth Hair Minimizing Roll-On Antiperspirant Deodorants by Avon. I've talked about Avon's deodorants a million times. I love them. I will use any of them. I have a Holy Grail scent that I like the most, and I will go back and forth between that one and any of the other ones. I will choose them at random. The hair minimizing, this was the first time that I had used this one, and I do actually think that it did do a little bit of minimizing. I don't necessarily feel like it made the hair under the arms any thinner necessarily, but I did notice that I normally shave under my arms every other day because the hair just doesn't grow quite quick enough to be able to shave it every day. I would just be tearing up my skin if I tried to shave it every day. So I shave under my arms every other day. And I was noticing when it was time to shave again, the hair wasn't quite grown out. There were times where I was like, I maybe could wait a third day. It was long enough to shave, but still relatively close to the skin. So I do think there's something to be said for the hair minimizing properties. I do think it kind of slowed the growth to some extent. Okay, I have some toothpaste. The first is the Crest Tartar Protection Whitening Cool Mint Paste. I used up the tube. I would use this again. I have used it again. I think I repurchased it. I'm not super brand loyal when it comes to toothpaste. I don't have like a Holy Grail product. But there are two things that I do watch for when it comes to toothpaste. The first one is that I have used a particular toothpaste in the past that made me feel like I was a rabid dog and foaming at the mouth. I mean, it just foams and foams and foams in your mouth, and it doesn't matter how many times you spit or how many times you rinse. It's like your mouth continues to foam for like 30 minutes after you have, been finished with the whole toothbrushing process. And you just feel like you need to keep going back to spit it out, and it doesn't matter if you rinse with, water or swish or gargle, or it doesn't matter what you do, it just continues to foam from who knows where. So I don't like that in a toothpaste, which this does not do. And I also have to be careful with whitening products, because some whitening agents in some products my skin is too sensitive to them. And it's not a pain sensitivity, it's actually the tissue of my gums is sensitive, and it will irritate the tissue of my gums, and it actually causes my gums to recede and to pull away from my teeth, which is not a good thing. So I do have to be careful about the whitening agents that I use, and this does have the whitening properties to it. according to the packaging, but I do not have the receding gum issue with this. So that's part of why I would use this again, is that it does give me some whitening but not the irritation. Then I also tried, I just had this little sample size or travel size of the Crest Complete Multi-Benefit Whitening Deep Clean Effervescent Mint toothpaste, and this is a fluoride toothpaste. I don't know if this one says that. Yes, this one says fluoride on it too, so some people care about fluoride. I didn't have a problem with this one making my teeth recede, or my gums recede either, although this is, you know, a smaller version of it, but I generally start to see that irritation right away when I use products that do that to me. So I would probably use this one again too. Again, I'm not super loyal to any specific type, but those are the two things I watch for, and neither one of these did I have that problem with, so either one of them I would use again in a pinch. Okay, now we're on to kind of the random portion of the program, which is not necessarily beauty or fashion related, but people do like to see some of these types of things. So the first thing is a candle that I finished. This is a glow scented candle, and the scent is Pumpkin Harvest. Now this was given to me as a gift. The jar is normally a clear glass jar. It's smoky. It's coated in, you know, smokiness because I choke it out with the cap. So, and I don't take the time to trim wicks. So candles that normally wouldn't smoke for anybody else will sometimes smoke for me just because I'm lazy about that. I would definitely use this again. I honestly, because this was given to me as a gift, I don't know anything really about the line or where you find it. You'll just have to, you know, Google it. Just Google glow scented candles and I'm sure you can find it. Pumpkin Harvest, you know, since that's a fall scent, it might not be a scent that you can find right now, or you might be able to find it on clearance, who knows. But this was a really nice smelling candle. I kept it in, you know, downstairs in my living room, and it was able to fragrance my whole house, so the scent throw is really nice on it. And like I said, I don't think it would smoke if you trim the wick like you're supposed to. So don't worry about that. Really nice. I really enjoyed having it, and so I would use these again for sure. Then I'm going to tell you about some laundry items, which is another kind of random product. The first is these Purex Triple Action Bright White Clean Ultra Packs, which are the liquid laundry detergents with double cleaning power in every drop in the Mountain Breeze fragrance. There were 26 of them. So these are the little, you know, the detergent is in the little pack, and you drop the little pack in and do your laundry. The scent, you know, it's fine. It's not one of those super long lasting fragrances. It's not like one of those where you wash your laundry and dry it and do the whole thing, and then you pick up your laundry and you're like, oh my gosh, my laundry smells so good. It smells like my laundry detergent. I don't think it's that strong, but these are designed for all machines, so that's good. I don't know if I would buy these again. They're a little bit pricey just because they're, you know, sort of individually packaged type situation. They're not individually wrapped. They just come all down in there. And I will tell you, if you live in a humid climate, I could see where these might stick together or start to dissolve in the packaging, so just be careful about that. But they did kind of stick together for me, but they didn't actually dissolve in there. So, but speaking of dissolving, they also don't dissolve that easily in your laundry either, especially if you wash your laundry in cold. I made the mistake of not really kind of paying attention to this dissolving situation when I first started using them, and I did have an issue where number one, the detergent packs themselves, the detergent is blue, and I believe that's probably a colorant to make it look blue, and that colorant got all over some of my clothes and gave me like blue stains on some of my clothes. So I had that problem one time, and I also had the problem one time of a shirt that I've had for quite some time and have washed a few times. It did cause the shirt color to bleed onto some of my other clothes. And normally, I mean, I've washed that shirt quite a few times and never had a problem before. So it's, you know, the detergent, the strength of the detergent did cause the bleeding, and it did stain some of my clothes. So I had that problem. So once I had that issue, at first I was ready to scrap it, but then I was like, okay, well, let's experiment and kind of see, now that we've had this problem, let's see if we can figure out a way to fix it. So one of the things that I did was I would throw it into the washer, and then I would start the washer filling with water, and I would make sure that thing was sitting right underneath where the water was, you know, slamming down, coming out of the, you know, the spout, and beat the crap out of it with the water to help dissolve it. Because I think what happened when the color stained my clothes is that I think it didn't dissolve, and then, you know, it just sat like a puddle, you know, there trapped in that piece of clothing, and just stained the clothing with the colorant. So I put it right under that and beat the crap out of it with the water and make sure that it starts to dissolve and break up. Which isn't too bad in warm or hot water, but in cold water there were times where it didn't dissolve very well at all. And by the time the water had filled to a certain extent where I couldn't keep it underneath, you know, the sort of waterfall of water that was filling the tub, and it still wasn't dissolved, that's a concern of mine. And a lot of people, you know, one of the best ways to conserve energy and improve your carbon footprint and yada 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 is to wash your laundry in cold water. So all I can caution you with, if you really want to use these, is just to say you need to babysit the dissolving process at the beginning before you start to put your clothes in. That's all I can tell you. But I don't know that I would use these again. I mean, I don't know that they were any more convenient than just pouring the liquid in. You know, because quite honestly, if you're holding your laundry, you know, trying to get this, you have to keep this sealed, because otherwise moisture will get down into the pack, and like I said, you don't want to come and find that they're dissolving in the bag or all stuck together or what have you. So, you know, holding your laundry and trying to pull open a Ziploc style baggie is not any easier, you know, to get in there and pull one apart, especially if they're kind of stuck together, and drop it in, and then reseal it with one hand. That's not any easier than dealing with, you know, taking off a cap, setting the cap down, pouring some in, and pouring that in, if you're trying to do it one-handed, or whatever the situation would be that you might want to use this over a typical liquid soap. I don't know that it really, I just don't think it made the situation any more convenient. So with that, and with the price and such, and the few issues that I had, I don't know that I would use these regardless of the brand. I've used some other brands of these as well, and, you know, regardless of brand, I don't know that they're any more convenient. So that's just my opinion. Okay. The next thing is the Downy Unstoppables In-Wash Scent Booster, and the version that I have is in Fresh, and this is the 13.2 ounce. Some stores carry the 13.2 and some carry the smaller version. I've noticed that most of the time they only carry one or the other. They don't carry both, so that's something to think about. The Fresh scent, they do smell nice. Okay, I like them. You take the little lid off, you open this up, and you pour some in, and you dump it into your laundry. And the idea is that this is supposed to make your laundry smell good, and for the scent to last longer. These are a novelty item, and they are a luxury item. This is not something that you need to have. That's the first thing that I'm going to tell you. The next thing I'm going to tell you is I don't think that these worked better than just a nice smelling laundry detergent. Or a nice smelling dryer sheet. I think that once you put your laundry into the dryer and use it, if you use dryer sheets and use the dryer sheet scent overrides the Unstoppables fragrance at that point. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, for this to really have an intense scent, I think you need to probably use a lot. And if you use a lot, you're going to go through this in, you know, probably a handful of washes to really get that result. So financially speaking, that's not really a sound way to go. And if you're going to spend the money on something like this, then why not just spend the money on a really good laundry detergent and dryer sheet like Tide, which really does leave your clothes smelling good for, you know, a long time out of the wash, and just get it over with those good products and not need to add yet another product into the mix. That's just what I think about it. So only buy these are just for fun. You know, if you want to try them for fun, then try it. If you really just love the fragrance and don't love the fragrance of any other laundry detergent or what have you out there, then by all means, you know, use them. Especially if you can afford it. If you have a sensitivity to other fragrances, but you don't seem to have a sensitivity to this, then by all means, if you can afford it, use it. I did repurchase a different scent of these just to try, you know, another scent. But this is not something that that is or will be part of my permanent routine. The amount of money that I'm investing to buy this separate product, I could invest into just using a really good quality laundry detergent and dryer sheet, like I said, Tide happens to be probably my favorite, and just get it done all in one step. So this is something that I would buy for somebody else as a gift, just so that they could, you know, have fun with it, you know, one time. But again, it's not something I would make part of my permanent routine. It's a novelty item. It's not a necessity, and it doesn't make that big of a difference. So it's just for fun. Just for fun. Last, I'm going to show you a couple of food items, and this first one might make you laugh. This is the Sunsweet Ones, the Super Select California Prunes. These are the individually wrapped prunes. And prunes really get a bad rap. You know, the whole idea, like, people think that it's something that old people eat because they can't poop and that kind of thing, which, you know, can be true. It can be a food that would be recommended to you if you were having a problem, you know, passing your fecal matter through your system, because they're high in fiber. But it's not a food for old people. That's the first thing. The second thing is that people have this misconception that it's like a diuretic, that if you eat these, you're going to be like crapping your pants, you know, or racing to the bathroom. That's not the case either. These aren't a diuretic. The reason that prunes are good for you is just because they are high in fiber, and so they help, number one, balance out your fat ratio. Most of us have way too much fat in our diet, and we need substance in our digestive system that is more, has more substance to it than just fat molecules. Okay, so you need fiber. I don't want to get into the details about how your digestive system works, but basically it is a muscle, and the muscles contract and kind of push things through your system. And if there isn't something for you to kind of grab onto, it doesn't get pushed through very well. And it can become hard. This does, you know, fiber does help to give it a easier to manage consistency without making it runny. And it's just better for you, and it's also filling. And prunes are really, if you like raisins, you will like prunes. They're just a big raisin. So there's no difference really in there. And if you like plums, I think a lot of times people don't even know where prunes come from. I mean, they're plums. They're plums with, you know, dried plums is basically what they are. So if you like to eat plums, which are a nice sweet fruit, then you will probably like prunes. So they have the consistency and the taste of like a much bigger raisin. These are the ones that are individually wrapped. I will sometimes buy just a big tub. The reason I got the individually wrapped ones was basically for my niece. She loved to eat these as a baby, and it was just more convenient to have these in my purse individually wrapped as like a snack for her, or, you know, what have you, than to be carrying around a tub of them. But I will use, I try to eat these, you know, not a lot of them, like 2 or 3 of them, 4 of them on every day if I can, just to know that I'm getting something with some nutrition in it, with some fiber in it, and just something that's good for me. So I'll eat these just as a serving. A serving of these has 100 calories, and there are about 5 servings in a container like this. This is the more expensive way to get it when they're individually wrapped. I'm fine with the big tub of them. But anyway, just grabbing a small handful of these and eating them as a serving of food. When I'm eating really well, I'll eat about 100 calories per hour that I'm awake, and I spread it out over the day. So, and I lose a lot of weight when I do that. I'm a terrible eater. I generally only eat once a day, and it's really bad. It's a bad habit that I've had since I was young, and it's a schedule thing, and now it's just habit. So don't do that. Your metabolism does shut down, and you will actually get fat. So when I'm really focused on eating right and forcing myself to eat more often, I will generally, like, I will eat something that's maybe, let's say if it's like 250 calories for something. Well, I will eat it, and I know that I need about 100 calories to get me through an hour's time. So if it's 250 calories, it's gonna get me through about 2.5 hours worth of time, and then I can eat something else. So this is just 100 calories that I can grab really quick and just munch them and go about my business. And I know it's good for me. You know, they're healthy, they taste good, and I'm getting some additional fiber, which fiber for me, because I have a gluten issue, can be hard for me to get sometimes because I can't eat a lot of the grains that people normally use to get their fiber. So that's my speech on the prunes. If you haven't had them, they are actually good, and you should try them. And the last thing is a food item, and this is my junk food item of choice. This is like my holy grail of junk food. When people ask you, you know, people will usually ask you, oh, what's your favorite food? I don't have a favorite food, and I'm not one of those people that has, I do like chocolate and things, but I don't really have a sweet tooth. If I get a candy bar, it takes me like 2 or 3 different, I will end up eating it over 2 or 3 different sittings. I can't go through a lot of sweets really fast. They're too rich over time. Even though I love them, they taste really good. I just can't do a lot of them. But the thing that I love is spicy foods. Anything spicy. If it says hot or buffalo or jalapeno or pepper or chili or, you know, habanero, it doesn't matter if it's spicy as in spicy hot, not as in like Indian spicy, like curry spices. Some people will call some of those types of spices spicy. That's not, I'm talking about hot spicy. So buffalo sauce, hot sauce, peppers, all of that. I just love it. And so my junk food, when I really just want some junk food, my all-time favorite thing are these potato chips. These are Mike Sell's Groovy Potato Chips in Good and Hot. They're spicy goodness with a hint of smoke. Good and Hot Potato Chips by Mike Sell's. Mike Sell's is made in Dayton, Ohio. There is kind of a limited, you know, they do have a limited distribution area. I don't know if you can order from them, like, online. They do have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Mike Sell Snacks. Mike Sell Snacks. Okay, so you get the right number of S's. So, I don't know, you can check out their Facebook page and see if you can order these online. But if you are ever going through, like, the southwestern area of Ohio, particularly the Dayton area, you need to try these chips. Mike Sell's has a lot of different types of chips and flavors, and the good and hot ones can actually be a little bit harder to find. Not every location carries them. Generally, most of the places you can find them. So if you ever have the chance to try these ever, and you like spicy foods, get them, because they've got a kick to them, a healthy kick. I can eat a lot of them. It's not too much. It's not going to burn your face up, but it's got a healthy kick. I try to be careful with these because they do have MSG in them, and I mean, they're junk food. They're not good for you. They're potato chips. Let's be real. But when I am feeling like just eating, you know, when I need a junk food fix, this is what I always want. So I just thought that I would tell you about that. It's a brand that not everybody has ever heard of. They're just plain groovy potato chips. If you're a dip person, like if you love like French onion dip and that kind of thing, they're plain groovy potato chips with dip is the best kind of chip to put in a dip too. So there's that. There's my really random item for the week. Okay, so that is everything I have for you this time. If you have any questions about any of those products, then let me know. So I hope you found this helpful. I think having the reviews can be helpful sometimes. And again, everybody's opinions are different. Everybody's needs are different. So just because I say I love or don't love or despise a product does not mean that you will either. So just keep that in mind. Use your good common sense. If you tend to like the same things that I like, then you know, get the things that I recommend. If you tend to have the opposite taste as me, then get the things I don't recommend, because those are the ones you will probably love. So just use my information as a gauge as to whether or not you might or might not like the product, and you know, go from there. Okay, so I will try to not wait as long before I do the next one of these, because it does get overwhelming and the videos do get longer. So hopefully the next time I'll try to keep it a little bit shorter next time. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.